Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to this live post-game recap of Week 6 in the NFL. Your Detroit Lions in Kansas City falling to the Chiefs 30-17 last night. Glover Quinn, Trevor Thompson here to recap it all for you on this edition of Believe in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel. And Glover, we talked about the FanDuel odds going into this one. The over-under was set at 52.5. The Chiefs were giving 2.5. They covered with a 30-17 win, but the over-under didn't get to where you thought it was. Not as high scoring on Sunday night and not as spectacular a game last night as it was in previous Sunday games so far this season. What's your takeaway from the Lions' loss as they've now fall to 4-2?
They just didn't play good enough to win. I think Kansas City came out with a little more intensity. And I mean, we knew going into the game with the secondary being as hobbled as they were, it was going to be tough to stop Patrick Mahomes. Like he's who he is for a reason. Like he's not going to just sit there and let Aiden Hutchinson tee off on him, and he's going to find your weaknesses and he's going to exploit it every single time. And we knew that going into it. And I was thinking that the Lions offense would overpower the Chiefs defense, and they didn't. The Chiefs defense were able to stop them, slow them down. They did a great job on Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think he really got loose last night. Maybe had one or two solid runs, but they did a good job on him. And, when you do that, if you can slow down Jahmyr Gibbs and keep Jamison Williams going over the top, you got a chance, because those other guys are they're gonna make plays, but it's all controlled. So you have those 9-minute drives like you had to open the game, right? You have those 9-minute, but you can't put those together every time. You can't do that every time. And so the Chiefs just played better. You just got to tip your hat. It's a week 5 or week 6 matchup in the NFL. The Chiefs won it, and it is what it is. You got to go back to the drawing board and figure out why, and get some guys healthy. That's just a part of the season.
Time of possession in the game was pretty much equal. Each team had the ball for nearly 30 minutes, but the big difference was the Chiefs found a way into the end zone last night, and the Lions weren't able to get to the end zone on their possessions. What was the biggest thing you saw from the Chiefs defense to shut down that Lions offense that had been averaging 34 points a game coming in, best in the NFL?
Well, they got good push on the D-line, to slow down the run game. It was a few creases in there, but for the most part, they were able to slow the run game down. And then, Trent McDuffie, I thought he did a good job matching up against Amon. I mean, that's a great matchup for him. I'm pretty sure Trent felt comfortable because him and Amon look basically like the same body type. And so when you can slow down Amon, slow down the run game, you're going to slow down that offense. It just is what it is. And I don't know if David Montgomery got enough carries, because I think sometimes they gotta feel the game and see, like I say, when teams go in to stop Jahmyr, sometimes you got to put David in to loosen it up. I think we saw that in the Baltimore game earlier in the season on Monday night. And I think last night they I don't know if they gave David enough opportunities, because when he's in there, he's creasing and he's making plays. And so and then in the red zone, with the way that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes play, they scored a touchdown. The second touchdown to Hollywood Brown, right? On the crossing route. And I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm talking to my people, and I'm just like, you can't play the Kansas City Chiefs like that, because they're going to put you in so many situations and you're not going to be able to survive them. And what I mean is, you have to put a defensive back on Travis Kelce. And you may say, oh, well, Travis Kelce didn't catch the touchdown. I know it. But the fact that Travis Kelce is in that bunch formation and there's a linebacker on Travis Kelce, you can't work a lot of your combination coverages because you have a linebacker there. And you don't want the linebacker to get mixed up or matched up with Hollywood Brown, because the way they ran that play, if they would have been working a combination with the corner and the linebacker, then the linebacker would have had to chase Hollywood Brown all the way across the field. He's probably not going to win that battle. A safety could, Brian Branch could, but Brian Branch wasn't on Travis Kelce. I don't even know where he was at. I'm like, was he blitzing? Like, why wasn't he on Kelce? But maybe he was playing the slot. I can't remember exactly, but I know there was a linebacker on Travis Kelce. And then they just take Hollywood Brown, the outside guy of the bunch, and just runs him underneath through all the traffic, and the corner can't get there. That's just them exploiting the matchups. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And so when you play them like that, you got to understand that you're gonna have to put a defensive back on Travis Kelce. Otherwise, they're gonna put you in situations to make you uncomfortable.
We talked about it coming in and how Patrick Mahomes would try to exploit matchups, giving all the injuries in the Lions secondary. They tried to play a little bit of zone. It looked like they were a little confused. It looked like out there the chemistry certainly wasn't there. What sort of fall off did you see, or where did you see the defensive game plan fall apart as far as trying to integrate new pieces and new players into the scheme last night?
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs just create a problem. Like I said, when you're going in with your secondary not there, it's difficult. Like, how do you match up with those little guys? Do you go man and blitz? Okay, they got something for you. Do you go zone? Okay, well, when you go in zone, you're playing with a bunch of guys that haven't been out there. The communication, the zones, the understanding, the concepts, it wasn't there. I mean, they was calling our guys' names last night that I never even heard of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, where did these guys come from? Like, so when you're in those situations, from a coordinator standpoint, it's tough because you probably want to come out to Patrick Mahomes a little bit, but that means you got to play man-to-man on the back end. And now I got these guys having to try to run with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and they're chasing these guys across the field, and Patrick is running crossing routes and this and that. Like, it's tough. So then you try to go zone. Well, if you give him time, he's going to pick you apart. So now you go zone blitz. So now there's holes in the zone because you're blitzing people. So there's less guys to be in your zone, and it's difficult. So I just got to say that the Lions got, I don't want to say out-coached because that sounds like a bad thing. They just got schemed, and it just wasn't their night. Just is what it is. Just wasn't their night.
We talked about Andy Reid and his coaching acumen coming into this game. He's now 29-10 in prime time games last night. How did you see him scheme against them? You talk about the schemes that he ran. How did you see him scheme against them on both sides of the ball, defensively especially, because they shut that offense down that made them so effective as far as the game plan that he came in with?
I mean, if you look at defensively, Aiden Hutchinson got close to Patrick Mahomes 3 times, I think. One of them was a forced fumble. One of them was a roughing the passer, and one of them was just he got there kind of close, and Patrick threw it. Outside of that, it wasn't that much at Patrick Mahomes. But when you look at the game plan, what they were doing, it reminded me of 2014 when we had a great pass rush. Ziggy,
yeah, you did.
Sue, Fairley, Jason Jones. We had a great pass rush. And we went to New England to play the New England Patriots. And we could literally get no pressure on Tom Brady. It's because everything Tom Brady threw was a quick pass. Screen left, screen right, quick out here, quick out there. Boom, sit down route. So if you look at last night, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes threw many passes over 15 yards. Yeah, but everything was just so quick. Right?
They were quick. Yeah, they were.
Travis Kelce just pop off the line, catch it in the zone right there. Boom, 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. Boom, throw it out to Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, And you're mixing it up. You're going left, you're going right. You can't pressure. You can't do this. They bunching you up. They spreading you out. Like they were just going. They hit Pacheco on the run game. Patrick Mahomes run a little bit. He slides. He gets up. He's like they were just going last night. They didn't feel any restriction really from the Lions last night. And it just wasn't a good matchup. They said in boxing all the time, styles make fights.
Right.
That was not the matchup that the Lions wanted to see last night.
So they certainly did play to the identity that they've earned, and you've seen Patrick Mahomes do that sort of thing throughout the years, time and time and time again. And last night, the Lions, with all those injuries, looked like they were searching for an identity. Moving forward, what is the identity, especially on this defense that's decimated in the secondary right now? What kind of identity are they trying to form, or how do they carry on the identity they've tried to carve out the last couple of years?
See, this right here is like why conversations are so hard to have with people, because until things happen, you don't really know, right? And everybody feels like everything is everything until you realize that everything is nothing if you don't have everybody. Right. Doesn't matter how good your pass rush is. If you don't have a good secondary, they're going to be nullified. It doesn't matter how good your secondary is. If you don't have a pass rush, they're going to get torched. That's just the way that it is. And so until they can get the secondary healthy or get guys that can play and understand the scheme and execute, it's just going to be difficult, because they're not going to sit there and just let the D-line tee off on the quarterback. They're not going to do that if they know that they can put the secondary in situations to force them to do stuff that they're not comfortable doing, or they're not equipped to do at this point because they're new. They just got there a week ago or 3 days ago or what. Like, It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That's why they always say rush and coverage. It goes hand in hand. It is what it is. And so I said it in training camp that I was worried about depth of the secondary. I had no idea that all the corners would get hurt.
Yeah, right.
All of them. Jeez.
Man, this is no joke, though.
And then you start looking at, they got a game next week, right?
Yeah, they do. Monday Night Football, baby. Monday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to touch on that in a second, but that's not going to be an easy matchup.
Right.
Although it is at home, that's going to be a bear, because
but think about this.
The Bucs are coming.
Think about this. We're already injured. Kirby Joseph is injured, but he's been dealing with the knee all ever since training camp. Who knows if the league suspends Brian Branch for what he pulled at the end of the game. And you just can't sit here and say that the Lions offense is going to score 40 on Tampa's defense. Hey, man. Life comes at you fast in the NFL, brother.
Life comes at you fast everywhere. Well, which really brings us to our next point. As the Lions are trying to search for an identity on the field, we have to protect our identity off the field, especially in cyberspace. And Delete Me makes that easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off of your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This leads to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. The New York Times Wirecutter has named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services. And certainly you may know someone who's been a victim of identity theft, harassment, or doxing. And if you haven't, you probably will, because I know I certainly have. And Glover, we've talked about this. It's a very important thing. Delete Me can help protect you online. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you join deleteme.com/pro and use the Como code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to join deleteme.com/pro and enter PRO at checkout. That's deleteme.com/pro, code PRO. So obviously that's very important, but we're talking about the Lions' identity on the field, also important. And you brought up Brian Branch. after the game last night, Dan Campbell's not having it. We don't do that around here. It's unacceptable, he said. I have never seen that happen post-game. Guys are always hugging at center field and, wishing each other well and congratulating one another. I've never seen a guy punch a guy in the mouth in a situation like that. And Brian Branch has already collected a couple of fines this year. What's up with Brian Branch? Take us inside the mind of him right now and what's going on in that situation. I know he took a hard block from Juju Smith-Schuster late in the fourth quarter that might have led to that. But what goes on in a situation like that?
I mean, I don't know. Like, that's hard. That's hard for me because, I mean, we can sit here and say, oh, they're ultimate competitors and this and that, but we see people compete at a high level every game and not respond like that. So I don't know. I don't know what goes in the side of you to feel like that's okay. And maybe a guy did block you hard. That's football. That's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. They don't react like that when you come up and smack people. Mm-hmm. When you come up and hit people hard, they don't react like that. Oh, he hit me too hard. Like, it's just a part of the game. Sometimes you get got, and sometimes you get people. And, I tell you these guys, I tell you this stuff all the time. These quarterbacks have great images. And we love them. But if you watched the game last night, Patrick Mahomes, he's out there chirping. He's these quarterbacks, they're cocky. They're all those things. But the worst thing is they're protected by the rules of the game. So you can't really hit them like you want to. You don't know if they're going to slide. So then they try to catch you slipping, and then they want to act like they strong, like they trucked you or they did. So it's just this weird element with these quarterbacks. It's weird elements with these quarterbacks. And that had to been frustrating because you would think after the game, just from a good player to good player standpoint, why wouldn't you dap up Patrick Mahomes? He's just saying good game. We've competed. Obviously, it was a tough game, right? I'm going to show up. I'm a 3 times MVP. Like, I'm going to show up and try to get this win, bros. And we did. Good game. But you don't want to dap up Patty Mahomes. And then Juju must have said something or whatever, and now you just fire off at Juju. It just didn't look good. It didn't look good. And, I'm the type of person, I don't like stuff like that. I don't like front runners. I don't like it when it goes well, everybody's so happy and we are all good. And the minute it goes bad, we want to turn into just fighting and this and that. Like, hey, man, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Mm-hmm. If you lose, you figure out what happened and you scrap up and you do it again. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to be a turd just because you lost. They were better last night. They were better. It happens. It's okay. You ain't the only one that got to deal with it. I got to go back to the gym and deal with the people coming at me because the Lions lost. And I was talking a lot of smack. So I know they're going to be coming at me.
Those folks in the gym, you got to be ready for that, don't you? You got to be ready for the folks in the gym. You got to have something for them. I love your folks in the gym.
I mean, but I didn't even go to my morning class today. I'm going to go in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in the afternoon.
They're going to run you down sooner or later. You can't avoid them forever. But hey, I play a lot of hockey, right? I played a lot of hockey growing up. I play no check right now. But in a lot of ways, it's the same as football. It's very physical, very intense. You have individual battles that get heated during the game. But when the whistle goes, the horn goes at the end of the game, it's all over. Like you said, you dap them up. It's a good game. We win or lose. You move on. You take the number. You remember for next time, whatever you have to do. But when it's over, it's over. So I'm with you in that sense. Like, don't like seeing those sort of things. Cooler heads must prevail. You've got to be, and you talked about this being a mature football team. You've got to show that kind of maturity. And like I said, Dan Campbell says, we aren't having it. That's not our identity. We're not going out like that. Do the players also get with one another and say, hey, dude, got to be better? Is that something that's going to get policed by guys in the room, or is that something the player knows himself, or how's that situation get handled in the room?
Well, it can go both ways. You know what I'm saying? It can go both ways. It just depends on the respect and that's in the locker room, and depends on the leaders and people. You know, they're a younger group. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was there, I was one of those leader guys, right? So if that would have been like Sue or somebody, like I would have went to Sue and be like, "Come on, bro, like we can't do that," right?
Mm-hmm.
But there probably would have been a lot of other people that been like, "All right, that was Sue. That's just Sue. Like he can't do that," and they don't feel comfortable going to say something to Sue, right? But that was a relationship that I had with Sue, where I could say like, "Come on, dog, we need you, bro. Like, what are you doing? We can't have that, right?" But that was a relationship that I had built with him from the first time I got there, and you know we respected each other in that regard. And so when you look in that locker room, you know who are the guys? Is Aiden Hutchinson going to go say something to Brian Branch and be like, "Hey, dog, you can't do that. You're hurting. Like that may hurt us come Monday if you can't play." You know, is Kirby Joseph going to say something? You know, you look at the corners, like who is Alex Anzalone going to say something? You know, who is your, you know, you typically have a big dog D lineman. Is DJ Reader gonna say something like, you know what I'm saying? Or is it just gonna be brushed over like, "Hey dog, we got your back. Hey man, I get it. You was mad, yada yada yada."
Mm-hmm.
And nobody really, I don't know the culture of how they gonna deal with that, because that's what I be saying. When you win all the time, you don't know how you're gonna respond in these moments of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. We don't know. We haven't had to have situations where people come out and they're saying like boom, boom. Like we haven't had a lot of that because they win so much. And it's always good. We won 15 games last year, right? We've won 4 games in a row. So you don't get a lot of the stuff. Like Tua is having to deal with stuff every week in the media, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't get that from the Detroit Lions because they win all the time. So I don't know who in that locker room. Is Jared Goff that guy? Is David Montgomery that guy? Is Amon-Ra St. Brown that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that's what I be saying. Like, it's all good. It's all fine when things are going fine. But when the adversity hit, when like, who is the guy that you saw last night that's like, let's go, man? Like, who is the guy? Like, they pan the sideline, and I see everybody sitting on the sideline. Just
I didn't see it.
Like, who's the guy?
I didn't see it.
That's what I've been saying for a long. Like, who is the guy when it gets difficult? I don't know. But that would be the guy that would say something to Brian. Because, like I said, when you got accolades and you got stuff like that, he's an all-pro player, he's a Pro Bowler, he's a good player, he's this and that. So everybody's not going to feel comfortable or confident in saying something to him. It's going to take another top guy.
Hey, it sounds to me like a guy like that should be that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He should be. Guy, you know what I'm saying? He should be. Like he should be somebody to take accountability. But like I said, you got to have somebody that don't mind like letting you know, like, hey, bro, you know, we're gonna go ride with you on the field. I saw guys go running in there, but you can't do that to us, bro.
And that's a fact, because that will be a big loss if he's not able to go next week. And speaking of the shortages in the secondary, Big Vito, we're live right now. He's tuned in. He says, Glover, come back. We need you, bro. You want to lace him up? You want to pad up for next week against Tampa Bay?
Hey, you know
get
what?
Some of that? Get some of that Baker Mayfield?
You know what, though? Honestly, I probably could come back, but I just couldn't come back in the same capacity as I left. I mean, I left as a 210, 207-pound safety. I would come back as a 240-pound linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
But what's crazy is I played linebacker basically for a lot of my career. Like when I was in Houston, I played the dime, so I was playing the linebacker position. When you play the nickel, when you play strong, like you're down there with the linebacker. So I understand run fits, I understand pass coverages, I understand how to cover it. Like I could come back and play linebacker. I'm not a rush in, no, but understanding the coverages and the formations and run fits, oh yeah, I could do that. And I'm
I think you just put
240.
yourself out there. Did you tell your
I'm
agent to put yourself
240.
out there? Yeah. Oh, you ready for some
Yeah, but
dollars?
I'm
You want to make
not
some more
fat.
dollars? 240.
But I'm not fat.
Strong. Well, you go to the gym every day. I know you're
I go to
not.
the
You go
gym
to the
every
gym
day.
every day. Every day.
Every day.
Every day. You're in there.
Burn boot camp. Every
You're
day.
ready. You're good to
I'm
go.
ready to go. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But tell Dan Campbell to call me.
Well, he might.
It might.
Don't put it out there if you don't mean it. Hey, let's look at this matchup coming up because I want to touch on it before we leave here right now. Tampa Bay Buccaneers rolling into Ford Field next week. And I was going to talk to you about this last week, but we got on to other things and our time ran out. But the MVP candidates so far this season look like this. Josh Allen, the FanDuel odds have Josh Allen on the top at plus 135. Patrick Mahomes, who we saw last night, plus 470. You know who's third right now? Baker Mayfield. He's ahead of Jared Goff, who sits there at plus 1,500 as we sit here and talk today. Baker Mayfield making a name for himself. They're 5-1. He's had several comebacks so far. He's really turned himself into a player. What do you think of those odds for him at MVP, first of all? And what is going to be the key to shutting him down? I know we'll have a preview show coming up, so we won't get all in depth on it. But just as you glance at it right now and think about it off the top of your head, Baker Mayfield and the season he's putting together with Tampa Bay right now. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Baker's been playing well, and I think the thing that you see, right? This is like you said it, and it's so clear to me. You said Baker Mayfield was in third. He's ahead of Jared Goff, right? But when you look at the games, you look at the field. What has Baker Mayfield been doing? He's been finding ways to will his team to victory. It may not look pretty all the time, but he's been fine. He makes tough runs when he needs them. Freaking hangs out in the pocket when he needs to. Makes the throws. He's chippy. He's fiery. And his guys play. They played. They scrap. They battle. They've won probably, if they won 5 games, 4 of them probably been within 3 points. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't see that from Jared. And I know that's not Jared's personality. Right? I know that's not Jared's personality. But at the end of the day, you have to have somebody to get you going. And Baker gets Tampa going. And you see people from all around the country respond to it. Baker this, Baker that, Baker this, Baker that. And it's captivating because you see the passion. You see it. And he wills his team to finally get a victory. And that's what they love. Jared Goff might throw for 300, but he's not going to say anything. He's not. So it's just like, oh, that's just Jared. Oh, that's just Jared. You know what I'm saying? Like Patrick Mahomes last night, he's gonna do it, and then he's gonna talk. He's gonna give you that. The Lions have to have that when it's not going good. When it's going good, they're all celebrating and doing headstands and dancing and like it's great. But who are you pulling from when it's not going good? When you're down in the trenches, who are you pulling from? They have to find that, and that's what Baker brings to Tampa. So that's why I would say he's ahead of Jared Goff. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but he's helping his team win. They're 5-1, and now they're coming into Detroit, and the Lions are going to have to show up against a tough team. Tampa went on the road yesterday. I think they were on the road in San Francisco. They were on the road without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin. Emeka Ibuka get hurt. Mm-hmm. And I know San Francisco lost Fred Warner. But at the end of the day, they found a way to win the game. Without all his stars, he found a way to win the game. That's what it's about.
Well, FanDuel still has the Lions at plus 800 fourth best odds for the Super Bowl, and the Bucks are sitting at plus 1,900, the eighth best odds. So we'll see how it plays up and see how those odds shake out after Week 7 is all over. But before we go here on our Week 6 recap, one more thought to leave the fans with. What are your thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, guys, it's the NFL season, right? This is the NFL season. This is the highs and the lows and the good and the bad. And so, yes, we all want the Lions to win every single game. That's what we show up for. That's what the players show up for. But that's not how it's going to happen. These teams in the NFL are good. Going on the road is tough. You're going to Arrowhead. You're going against a good team. And you can see why Patrick Mahomes is an MVP type of player. Mm-hmm. He showed it last night. The Lions went in, and they just didn't get the job done. It's not the end of the world, but they got to build, because those are the type of games that you have to win in the playoffs. You can go through the regular season and win a lot of games, and they might win 13 games, but they have to be able to win those tough games in the playoffs. And last night was a good barometer for it. Last night was a good barometer of what they need, because obviously we saw that they can attack our defense in ways and they can slow down the offense. And then who are we going to call? So let's just keep an eye on that. Let's keep supporting our Lions, keep supporting the channel. And it's the NFL, man. Let's come back next week and do it all over again.
Next week, it'll be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Glover and I will have our preview of that coming up on Thursday, so stay tuned for that as we roll on Believe in Lions, brought to you by FanDuel. Can't wait to see you next time.